What happens when a racist boss fires the wrong man? You won't believe how fast the tables turned, and how one bold move cost him everything. You ever wake up thinking, today's gonna be smooth? Yeah, that was me that morning. Sun was bright, coffee was strong, and my playlist was giving me old-school Marvin Gaye vibes. Everything about that day felt like it had a little shine on it. I should have known that's when life likes to punch you in the gut. I'd been working at Hartwell Industries for 6 years. 6 long, grinding years of being the reliable guy. The one who never missed a deadline. The one who stayed late so someone else could clock out early. You know that guy everyone calls when something's on fire? That was me. And I didn't mind it. I believed in doing things right. My mama raised me like that. If you're gonna do a job, you do it well. That morning, I left the house early because I had plans. Not big plans, just something that mattered to me. My co-worker, Danielle, was having a rough week. Single mom, bills piling up, and the company wasn't exactly generous. So I decided I'd bring her breakfast, just to brighten her day. Nothing crazy, just a gesture. I swung by Joe's diner, grabbed her favorite, blueberry muffins and that caramel latte she always talks about, and headed to the office. When I walked into that glass tower, it felt like any other day. People buzzing around, fake smiles plastered on their faces, pretending like they loved being there. And then there was me, Mr. Reliable, walking through the lobby with 2 coffees in hand like some damn superhero of carbs and caffeine. "Morning, Marcus," one of the receptionists chirped. "Morning, Tina," I replied, giving her a smile. I kept moving, feeling good about starting the day on the right foot. I hit the elevator, rode up to the 10th floor, and walked into the open office space. And just like that, the vibe shifted. You know that moment when you feel eyes on you? The kind that stick like gum to your shoes? Yeah, that. Heads turned. Conversations paused for half a beat before resuming with that fake casual tone people use when they've been talking about you. I brushed it off. Happens all the time when you're the only black man in your department. Danielle's face lit up when she saw me. "Marcus, you didn't— Oh my God, you brought me coffee?" "Caramel latte and blueberry muffins," I said, setting the bag on her desk. "Figured you could use a little sugar rush today." She put her hand over her heart, like I'd just paid her rent. "You're an angel." I chuckled. "Just don't start a rumor. I don't need HR thinking I'm bribing my way into friendship." She laughed, and for a minute I felt good. Like maybe people could just be decent to each other without a catch. But then came that voice. "Marcus," a sharp tone called from behind me. I didn't even have to turn to know who it was. Mr. Charles Hartwell himself, the big boss. 62 years old, white as printer paper, and with a permanent expression like someone just told him his favorite country club ran out of scotch. I turned slowly, coffee cup still in hand. "Morning, Mr. Hartwell." He didn't return the smile. He never did. "Can I see you in my office?" "Now." Now, here's the thing about Hartwell. He never said, "Please." Not once in 6 years, and he sure as hell didn't invite you to his office unless something was about to go sideways. I glanced at Danielle. Her eyes were wide like, "What did you do?" I shrugged, trying to play it cool, but my stomach tightened. I followed him through the maze of cubicles, past the glass walls of corner offices, all the way to his leather-scented kingdom at the end of the hall. He shut the door behind me and didn't even offer a seat. That's how you know it's bad. I stayed standing, clutching my coffee like a lifeline. "Marcus," he began, pacing behind his desk. "I've been reviewing performance metrics. Here we go. The man loved his metrics more than his kids. "I'm concerned about your recent numbers," he said, adjusting his cufflinks like they owed him money. I blinked. "My numbers? With all due respect, sir, I just closed the Lawson account 3 weeks ago. That deal brought in $500,000. His jaw tightened. "That was 3 weeks ago. Since then, your efficiency has dropped." I almost laughed. Efficiency? "Sir, I've been pulling extra hours. My team—" "This isn't about your team, Marcus. It's about you. And frankly—" He paused for effect, like he was delivering some great Shakespearean tragedy. "I don't think you're fitting in with the company culture anymore." I stared at him. Words stuck in my throat. "Company culture?" I repeated slowly, like maybe if I said it back to him, it'd start making sense. "Yes," he said, straightening his tie. "We value harmony, cohesion, and I've noticed certain behaviors that disrupt that." "Behaviors? You mean existing while black?" I kept my tone calm, but inside my blood was boiling. "Sir, can you clarify what you mean by disruptive behaviors?" He smiled that tight, cold smile that never reached his eyes. "Let's just say your attitude has raised concerns." My attitude. Translation: I spoke up in meetings. I didn't laugh at his bad golf jokes. I didn't let people talk over me. "Got it. I'm letting you go, Marcus," he said finally, like he was doing me a favor. "Effective immediately." I froze. "You're firing me? After 6 years?" "It's not personal," he lied, like all cowards do. "It's business." I wanted to laugh in his face. Not personal? This man just torched my career over some made-up nonsense about culture. But instead, I stood there, gripping my coffee so hard the lid popped off, and caramel foam dripped onto my shoes. "Please turn in your badge at reception," he added, already reaching for a folder like I was yesterday's news. "Security will escort you out." And that was it. No warning, no severance talk. Just like that, I went from being Mr. Reliable to Mr. Disposable. I walked out of his office in a haze. People pretended to work, but I could feel their eyes burning holes in my back. Danielle mouthed, "What happened?" I just shook my head. When I got to the elevator, I saw the security guard waiting. Big guy named Kevin. We nodded at each other. He looked embarrassed. I wasn't mad at him. He was just doing his job. Unlike Hartwell, who had made it his mission to remind me that no matter how hard you work, some folks will always see you as less. As the elevator doors closed, I took a deep breath. My hands were shaking, my chest tight. Part of me wanted to scream. Part of me wanted to cry. But mostly I wanted to laugh at the absurdity of it all. Because let me tell you, if Hartwell thought this was the end of my story, he had another thing coming. I sat in my car for a long time after they walked me out. Just sat there. Engine running, hands gripping the steering wheel, staring at the glass tower like it was some kind of monument to arrogance. People kept walking past, glancing at me like I was a ghost. 6 years of my life in that building. 6 years of early mornings and late nights, bending over backward to keep things moving. And just like that, I was out. Disposable. The irony? I still had that second coffee in the cup holder, the one I'd brought for Danielle. Guess kindness doesn't pay as much as people say it does. I took a long sip of my own coffee. Cold now. Figures. You ever have one of those moments where your whole life flashes in front of you? Not because you're dying, but because everything you thought was solid just crumbles? That was me, right then. Thinking about the mortgage, my son's college fund, my mom's medical bills, and then thinking about Hartwell's smug face saying, "It's not personal, Marcus, it's business." Business my ass. It was personal. Everything about it was personal. I wasn't about to sit there and cry into my latte, though. That's not who I am. My daddy always told me, when someone slams a door in your face, don't knock. Kick the damn thing down. And right then, I decided I was done being Mr. Reliable. If they wanted a fight, they were going to get one. But first, I needed answers. I drove to a little diner down the street. Same spot Hartwell takes his business lunches. You know the kind. Mahogany booths, servers in crisp white aprons, the smell of burnt coffee that somehow costs $5 a cup. I slid into a booth, pulled out my phone, and started scrolling. Emails, contracts, anything that could explain why I was suddenly not fitting the culture. And then, like a blessing from the universe, I found it. A forwarded email I'd gotten by mistake last month. Subject line, upcoming merger, confidential. Hartwell had been playing a long game. The company was about to merge with a bigger firm, which meant layoffs. Except, I wasn't just any employee. I was the one who closed the Lawson deal, the biggest account of the year. My name was in headlines. Firing me made 0 sense. Unless they wanted to make space for someone else. Someone who looked a little more like Hartwell. Someone who fit the culture. I stared at that email, heat rising in my chest. Oh, this wasn't just about me. This was bigger. And if they thought I was walking away quietly, they were out of their damn minds. My phone buzzed. Danielle. Marcus? Her voice was shaky. What the hell happened? They're saying you got fired. Yeah, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Effective immediately. That's insane. You're the best damn manager in the department. Guess that's not part of the culture, I said, letting the sarcasm drip. She lowered her voice. Marcus, there's something you should know. After you left, Hartwell called a meeting. He told everyone that you were underperforming and creating tension. I laughed bitterly. Creating tension? Because I asked why our diversity numbers look like a snowstorm? She hesitated. There's more. He already put someone in your office. That hit me like a punch. Already? Who? Guy named Evan, fresh out of college. His dad's on the board. I closed my eyes, gripping the phone so hard my knuckles turned white. Of course, nepotism wrapped in a bow. Marcus, listen, she said urgently. Be careful. Hartwell's talking like he wants to make an example out of you. Oh, he made an example, I said, a slow grin spreading across my face. But trust me, Danielle, the show's just getting started. Scene 3. The plan forms. I left the diner and sat in my car, mind racing. I could have gone home, licked my wounds, updated my resume like a good little corporate soldier. But that email was a loaded gun, and Hartwell handed me the bullets. Step 1. Gather intel. I still had access to the company's cloud for the next 24 hours. Rookie mistake on their part. I logged in from my phone, fingers flying across the screen. Financial statements, board memos, merger documents. And then I saw it. A PDF marked Executive Compensation Package. Hartwell wasn't just merging the company. He was cashing out. Big. Multi-million-dollar golden parachute, while employees like Danielle worried about keeping the lights on. And guess what? The merger agreement included a clause about ethical leadership. Any sign of discrimination, and the deal could tank. Well, well, well. Looks like culture's about to bite back. I drove home with the file burning a hole in my phone. My hands shook on the wheel, not from fear, but from adrenaline. I thought about my son, Jordan, texting me this morning. Good luck with your meeting today, Dad. You got this. Damn kid believed in me more than I believed in myself sometimes. I pulled into my driveway, killed the engine, and just sat there for a moment. This wasn't just about a job anymore. This was about every time I'd been told to tone it down in meetings. Every time someone touched my hair without asking. Every time a client assumed I was the assistant instead of the manager. I swallowed hard, fists clenched. "You picked the wrong man, Hartwell," I muttered. Just as I was about to head inside, my phone rang again. Unknown number. "Marcus Reed?" a deep voice asked. "Who's asking?" "Name's Carter. Carter Simmons. I'm an attorney. Let's just say we have mutual interests. Word travels fast in this city." I raised an eyebrow. "And what word is that?" "That you just got screwed by Charles Hartwell. And that you might be sitting on something useful." I didn't answer. Silence can be powerful. "Listen," Carter continued. "I specialize in employment discrimination and corporate fraud. If you've got what I think you've got, we can make this very uncomfortable for him." I looked at the house, then back at the phone. "Meet me at Joe's Diner in an hour." "See you there," he said, and hung up. I leaned back in my seat, heart pounding. An hour ago, I was just another guy who lost his job. Now I had a lawyer, leverage, and a burning desire to make Hartwell regret the day he underestimated me. I walked back into Joe's Diner like a man on a mission. Not the same man who'd sat there earlier, broken and blindsided. No. This Marcus was different. Focused. Dangerous, even. Because once you realize they've taken everything from you, what else do you have to lose? Carter was already there, sitting in the corner booth, nursing a black coffee like he was plotting a bank heist. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with a suit that probably cost more than my car. But it wasn't the suit that got me. It was the eyes. Sharp, calculating, like he could size up your whole life in one glance. "Marcus," he said, standing to shake my hand. Grip like steel. "Sit down." I slid into the booth, my phone clutched tight. "You came fast," he smirked. "When there's blood in the water, sharks don't waste time." "Good to know you're comparing me to bleeding meat," I shot back. He chuckled. "Not you, Hartwell." That made me smile for the first time all day. "So," Carter said, leaning in, "tell me what you've got." I pulled out my phone and showed him the email, the one about the merger. His eyes scanned it, then widened slightly. Well, this is gold." "There's more," I said, swiping to the compensation file. "Hartwell's getting a multi-million-dollar payout. But there's an ethics clause. Any proven discrimination, deal's off." Carter whistled low. "Damn, you just found his Achilles heel." I leaned back, crossing my arms. "Question is, how do we use it?" He tapped the screen. "Simple. We go public. Press loves a good David versus Goliath story, especially when Goliath's a smug corporate dinosaur." "Not sure I'm ready to be on the 6 o'clock news," I muttered. Carter smirked. "You won't have to. We leak this strategically. Board of directors sees it first. Then, if Hartwell tries to bury it, we go nuclear." I nodded slowly. "And in the meantime?" "In the meantime," he said, sliding a business card across the table, "we build your case. Wrongful termination, racial discrimination, retaliation for speaking up about diversity. You've got it all." I stared at that card, feeling something stir in my chest. Not just hope. Power. For the first time today, I wasn't playing defense anymore. I was coming for him. That night, I didn't sleep. Couldn't. My mind was a storm of plans, possibilities, and pure adrenaline. I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop, digging deeper into the files I'd downloaded. Every document, every email, Every whisper of Hartwell's hypocrisy. I gathered it all like ammunition. And oh, there was plenty. Hiring memos that showed a clear pattern. White men fast-tracked for promotions, while women and minorities stagnated. Emails where Hartwell joked about diversity hires being window dressing. Policies designed to keep people like me out of leadership roles. By sunrise, I had a digital arsenal that could bury him. But here's the thing about power. Once you taste it, you want more. And I wasn't stopping at saving my own skin. I wanted to make sure no one else ever went through what I did.